In history, tragedy and triumph often go hand in hand. For every low point comes a new high. For every darkest hour comes a new dawn. Such is the life of Auguste Dunloe, a man who would take the tragedy that formed him and turn it into a career of helping others. Along the way, he would help make some of the most impressive ships the UEE has ever seen. Welcome to Galactic Historian. This is a series where I break down the lore from sci-fi and space games and other content. With the release of the concept ship the Ares Starfighter, I wanted to do a deeper dive into the lore behind the manufacture of the ship, Crusader Industries, looking at where they came from and their ships themselves. Let's start with the founder. Auguste Dunloe was 11 years old on August 12, 2781, living on the planet of Angeli in the Crusader system. That day, Auguste had a special treat. He was placed on a prominent position in the front of his classmates, waving a tiny UEE flag as the then Mezzer X, Ulysses Mezzer, drove by his school. The Imperator was traveling to see his latest monument, built to keep the people of the UEE happy, Kano Stadium. Unfortunately for little Auguste, he was also front row center to the trap sprung by Ulysses' own son, Linton Mezzer. The explosion that destroyed the stadium and the battle for the streets that lasted all night afterwards took the life of his mother and gravely wounded his father. In the aftermath, he dropped out of school to find work to support him and his ailing father. But unfortunately for both of them, he and his father soon found themselves homeless and destitute. It wasn't long before his father would pass away, not able to handle the life on the streets with his severe injuries. Luckily, young Auguste was found by Angeli's Angels, a non-profit homeless shelter for the youth who took him in. It was there that he dedicated himself to success and remember those, like himself, who suffered in the dregs of society. With a scholarship to the University of Angeli, he double majored in business and political science. He became a fervent anti-Mezzer activist and proved himself adept at turning ideas into bold actions. With his help, the movement in Angeli was growing. He was quickly becoming the leader of the resistance in Crusader. It was only an illness that kept him from boarding a transport of his fellow political radicals destined for Terra. That same ship had an accident in the atmosphere, killing all aboard. Fearing the resistance leaders were being targeted for assassination, his people smuggled them into Xi'an space for his safety. There he coordinated rebel and resistance movements against the Mezzers. When the massacre of Garin II occurred in 2792, he decided the time was right to re-emerge into the political scene. With help of the Xi'an, he returned to Crusader and organized massive protests in response to the massacre. Within weeks of his return, the last Mezzer was deposed. After the end of the Mezzer era, Auguste Dunloe joined a civil rights lobby trying to reform the government to create a kinder and gentler humanity. However, he soon found he was naive to think such changes could happen quickly, and that deep pockets would be needed to effect actual change. Thus, he left the government work and went into the private sector. With the help of outside investors, he tried to buy a struggling shuttle manufacturer called Seraphim Systems. He saw potential in their products. He also knew that their position in Asura, in the Farron system, would grant them a lot of sympathy from the new UEE. You see, the Mezzer dynasty had scared corporations out of that system with false claims of treason and rebellion. Thus, he was sure that he would be able to get government contracts for their new shuttles. Much to his surprise, the board of directors rejected his offer, which led to a long, drawn-out negotiation. However, Dunloe's years of political experience in negotiation and talents with persuasion allowed him to get everything he wanted, save for one sticking point: the name. You see, the CEO, Jana Malone, was a very religious person and did not want to change the name Seraphim. But with some clever negotiations and appealing to their common desires to promote positive change in the world, he was able to get her to come around on his side. In a statement released to the entire company that day, the CEO said,
Our new name, Crusader Industries, should be considered a commitment by the company not only to innovate and stay on the forefront of our field, but to vigorously advocate for what is morally right across this planet, system, and even the Empire.
Officially incorporated in 2799, Just 7 years after Dunloe's return to the UEE, he used the seed money from his investors to expand operations of Crusader Industries, and even landed a lucrative UEE contract in 2801. That same year, a significant amount of the profits earned from these lucrative ventures were earmarked for charity. One of those charities was an educational vid series called Galactic Historian. They helped promote the series by liking their videos and subscribing to their channel, urging everyone to activate the bell button to know when their videos were going live. They even donated to Galactic Historian's Patreon, which you too can do to help videos like these come to life. As the company grew, Dunloe realized he needed to make more money in order to increase his charity work. That meant going beyond government contracts. However, it would be hard for him to find ways to break into other businesses with the cutthroat competition from the private sector. The solution came from an unlikely place. One of his warehouse managers, Axel Adamson, was on a conference call discussing the production delays caused by overdue shipments. In that call, he exclaimed out of frustration,
"If we had our own fleet, I guarantee this wouldn't happen."
In a flash, Dunloe realized the opportunity before him. In the financial chaos following the fall of the Measures, many of the large transport ship manufacturers had collapsed. There was an opening in the market. Dunloe would later recall that his response to the warehouse manager was,
"If we can make shuttles, why can't we make bigger ships?"
Dunloe put together a business plan, but it took a year of debate with the board to get the idea only narrowly approved. Convinced that the future of the company was in this new interplanetary craft division, he recruited some of the best and brightest engineers and designers, offering them stock options and significant pay increases from their previous jobs. The result would come to fruition in 2812 with the Crusader Industries Jupiter. At first, the Jupiter was exclusively used to deliver their shuttles to market, but word soon got around about the impressive ship, and soon orders trickled in from all over the UEE. Sales rose quickly, and after their first year, demand surpassed their production capabilities. Dunloe would reinvest the profits into building more production facilities all over the Empire to keep up with the demand. Soon, even the UEE Army would approach Crusader with a contract for their own Jupiters to act as transports for their vehicles and equipment. As a result, to Dunloe's delight, the Jupiters were also being used to transport government aid to all corners of the Empire. To celebrate the success of this new venture, Dunloe ensured that Crusader would become the primary source of funding for Angeli's Angels, the same nonprofit that saved his life as a child. After the amazing success of the Jupiter, Crusader did not rest on their laurels. Shortly thereafter, they developed the Saturn Starliner, a commercial passenger ship built with the same rugged and efficient design as the Jupiter. Things were looking up for Crusader in the early 29th century, and at this point, in 2814, a call went out by the newly created UEE Starlift Command for a ship to fill a very specific role. Since the Second Tavaran War, the UEE had implemented a strategy to drop troops first, and once a base of operations had been secured, they would then bring in the more fragile freighters with their equipment and larger vehicles. A report during the Measure era indicated that this had cost the UEE many lives. Being unable to bring heavy hitters like the Nova Tonks and the DX-20s straight to the battle meant longer and harder fights. The newly created Starlift Command's goal was to get a ship designed to hot drop cargo, vehicles, and relief troops right into the battle. Crusader Industries was asked to enter a bid and managed to beat out Aegis Dynamics. This new ship was easy to maintain, rugged, and at least looked like a hard target. They named the new ship Hercules, with its official military distinction being the M2 Hercules Starlifter. It proved its worth in March of 2824, when the UEE was called on to deal with a heavily armed pirate base on a border planet with the Xi'an. A ground assault was required to capture and extract intel on other pirate activity in the system. 2 squadrons of Hercules were deployed, with several squadrons of vanguards, quietly into the system. They landed and deployed troops and an entire armored column before the pirates even knew they were there. The mission had been projected to have massive casualties, but with the help of the M2, not a single UEE soldier lost their lives in the operation. Because of the surprise, they were also able to capture intel that led to the destruction of 2 additional pirate bases and even a small pirate capital ship. While Crusader continued to improve the design of the Hercules for years to come, a separate group of designers sought to innovate further with their civilian passenger transports. Kelly Kaplan led a team of designers at Crusader Industries to create the next generation of starliners to replace the aging Saturn. What they came up with was the Genesis Starliner. Its secret was its modularity. Kaplan called it the frame and roll design, allowing ships to be built quickly to whatever spec the owner desired. It could be anything from a troop transport to a luxury yacht, all with the easy-to-maintain and rugged design of Crusader Industries. Before long, the Genesis would become the primary means of transporting people in the UAE, with companies like Meridian Transit almost exclusively using the Starliners in their passenger transportation fleets. From crowded economy liners to racing team headquarters, the Genesis seemed to be able to do it all. Even the Imperator got his own custom Genesis for personal travel, called Imperator 1. Soon, the saying, "going on crusade," became synonymous with saying you were going on vacation. This led to amazing sales, all thanks to the driving force of Kelly Kaplan. Crusader was able to apply the frame and roll design of the Genesis to their M2 Hercules, bringing new life to the Starlifter. Soon they were able to make freighters, gas haulers, even combat ships out of the battle-tested M2. One specific variant was designated the A2, a gunship that came equipped with downward-facing turrets and a bomb bay, while still being able to deploy troops and supplies. When Auguste Dunloe retired, his hand-picked successor was the young ship designer behind the Genesis herself. Kaplan became instrumental in buying the low-density gas giant known as Stanton II. She negotiated with the UAE to purchase the planet and its moons for a massive sum of credits, naming it Crusader after the company. The purpose was to turn the floating military platforms in the upper atmosphere into a city and shipyards for their Genesis and Hercules ship lines. According to estimates, it reduced the cost by almost 40%. By building the large ships in the open air of the gas giant, supported by the floating platforms, it became easier and cheaper than building them in the vacuum of space. The city, known as Orison, has also become quite the tourist destination, as many come to experience the city in the clouds. Crusader even offers ship-based tours of their production facilities around the shipyards. Recently, they tried their hands at smaller scale, bringing a blockade runner to life with the Mercury Starrunner. The Mercury was designed to be fast, rugged, easy to maintain, and carry a maximum cargo for its small size. The design of the ship was intentionally meant to mimic smaller racers. This meant that its speed is unmatched with other ships in its size. To put its abilities to the test, Crusader entered their Starrunner in the infamous Able Baker Challenge, not once, but twice. The challenge is considered one of the most dangerous underground races in the Empire. Every year it changes, but it always involves the very dangerous planets of the Baker system, a system with binary stars. The first planet is scorched, being so close to its suns. The second world's atmosphere is so corrosive and toxic, while its third world is an ice giant with massive crystals that exist on the gaseous surface of the planet. Each year, one of the planets is chosen for a weapons-free course fraught with danger. The Mercury completed the Able Baker Challenge back-to-back, making it the only ship to do so. This, along with rave reviews from Whitley's Guide, who have put it in the top 5 fastest combined-use transports today, have made the Mercury a popular ship among militia, corporations, and even the UAE military. Riding high on another success, Crusader shocked the market once more in 2940, when they released their latest ship, the C2 Hercules, the civilian model of their famed military M2 Starlifter. The Hercules became one of the most popular ships on the market for a variety of reasons. First, the C2 boasted increased cargo capacity from the A2 and the M2, while still offering the only ship capable of carrying cargo, personnel, and vehicles, all inside an internal pressurized cabin. The other reason was, for the first time, the A2 and M2 models were being offered to the public, bringing better armor and more guns to the private transport business. Recently, Crusader has also made a foray into dedicated combat ships, with its ground support and capital ship hunting ship, the Ares Starfighter. The Ares was built around the latest in weapons design from Bering's Applied Technology division. The Ion variant of the Ares boasts an impressive loadout of power and shields. Designed to hunt capital ships, its main weapon is the laser configuration of the bearing SF-7, which was designed in conjunction with Crusader Industries to make the Ares as much a flying weapon as it is a ship. The Inferno variant sacrifices some of the extra power and shields for extra armor. Built with a ballistic version of the SF-7, this ship is designed to support ground forces by flying low and taking out hardened ground targets. While it isn't the first military ship by Crusader, it has shown that Crusader Industries isn't afraid to innovate and change with the times, a change mirroring the many lives and experiences of their founder, Auguste Dunloe. If Crusader is anything like its founder, it is right to have great expectations for this company, while also expecting the unexpected. I'd like to take this time to thank our patrons, the names you see on the screen now, for their continued support of this content. You guys, as always, kick ass, and I'm hoping to get you guys some exclusive content soon. I hope you enjoyed our look at Crusader Industries. What ship of theirs is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, ex Historia ad Astra.